Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Welcome to Game Over Toronto, everybody. My name is Lauren Williamson. On the other hand side of the screen is Fouad Solomon on the last Game Over Toronto stream of the season. Unfortunately, because the Leafs fall in Game 5, gentleman's sweep, I believe you said it was called, Fouad?
Yes, a gentleman's sweep. That basically means that the Florida Panthers, they felt bad for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They felt bad. They're like, you know what? You came all the way here to Florida. We'll give you a win. We'll give you a nice little participation win. Yeah, that's what they call it, gentleman's sweep. But at the end of the day, I don't know. Does it feel any better than just being swept in the end?
Yes, I think it does. But at the same time, I am a true believer that if you really want to go far in the playoffs, then Game 5 should not be a must-win because you're about to be eliminated.
Well, that's a given. That's just a given. You can't put yourself in that position, especially when objectively you have so much more talent. Like if this had gone 7 games and it went to overtime and all the stars showed up, I think I'd have a different tone. But I have a lot more thoughts. I think we should probably get to the ad read. Get that in.
Yep.
Because, I think a lot of people want to vent. So let's do it.
Yeah, let's absolutely do that. So very quickly, we are going to have a message from our sponsor, Sports Interaction. Get in on the action and make your bet with Sports Interaction. Every hit, every shot, every goal from all your favorite teams and players. Like if you bet against the Leafs tonight, congratulations. With competitive odds, the best live in play, and more ways than ever to get into the game. Like Minute Madness, our exclusive game with so many opportunities to win by the minute. Download the app in Ontario. Use this QR code at the bottom of the screen, this one right here, or head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN to get started. 19 plus, please play responsibly. So, yes, unfortunately, the Leafs do fall in a Game 5 in the second round, which is a nice change. And, you know, it's hard to look at that game. And, I mean, a couple of things right off the bat. Sergei Bobrovsky played his head off, and so good for him. He got better as the series went better. He was lights out tonight. He is the reason that the Panthers won tonight, for sure. And he's been unbeatable for this whole series, and
since Boston.
Yes,
since the Boston series.
Yes, absolutely. And so, you know,
if
you're a Florida fan,
if
you're a Florida fan, yes, your goalie was great. Now,
welcome,
and please stay, hit like and subscribe. And if you feel like hanging out, great. But remember, if you're gonna be silly and just troll us in the chat, we're just gonna time you out. So, if you are a Toronto fan, and it is maybe your first time here, maybe you just watched the Leafs lose, welcome again to Game Over Toronto. My name is Lauren. This is Fouad on the other side of the screen. And Fouad, you know, like we just said, you can't go into a game like this and expect to only play a couple of periods as hard as you did play out of the whole series that hard and expect to win, because realistically, if you had the amount of power that you had, the amount of courage you had, the amount of give a shit you had in, you know, the third period and in overtime, then it's maybe probably a different series,
right?
It is.
Yeah. But apparently, here's the thing, Lauren. Hockey games are 60 minutes divided in 3 periods of 20 minutes. And if you only play 20 minutes, that's about 33.33% of the game, I believe. So when you only play well 33.33% of the time, you fail the class. Like even the worst student gets 33.3%. They could say, well, at least I didn't get a 0. You failed, Bobby.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said Bobby, but
yeah, exactly.
Bobby did fail.
There are lots of people that would maybe say, oh, it's better to get swept in 4. There are lots of people that are going to say, oh, it's better to lose in 7. There's no good way to lose. At the end of the day, now the Leafs are done. And I think
there's a better way to lose, though. I think sometimes, like, here's the thing. What I was saying, the reason why we were so happy that they won the first round, it wasn't about the first round, okay? It was because 19 years, the whole thing came off our back.
Yeah.
But, you know, winning the first round, we all know it's not really that much of an accomplishment, okay? 8 teams do it every year. But what we celebrated was that the demons were gone. They were dead. But apparently, the Demons only went on a Royal Caribbean cruise that came out of Tampa Bay.
10 days.
They went all around 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Went on a nice 2-week cruise. The Demons came back refreshed, better than ever, and got them in a 3-0 hole. Obviously, the Florida Panthers did pretty well at that, but come on. Like, I'm telling you, the stars of this team just were not enough in this series.
Yeah.
And that's just straight up facts.
Yep, for sure. And, all of the big Florida players that you expect to show up did. Carter Verhaeghe shows up. Sam Bennett is now, he has been good for the Panthers in past years, but, he's a huge difference maker in the last series and this one. And in this series, while William Nylander showed up today and yesterday and last game as well, and that was great, our two top line centers don't. Which, hard to win a playoff series if your top two centers do not, even your top three centers, because Ryan O'Reilly had 1 goal, but, okay, that's fine. But he's, we got him at the trade deadline, so he shouldn't have been the person that you're really counting on in those moments anyway, right? And,
yeah,
now begins all of the controversy and speculation, and the reality is, everybody that is watching is the team that is on the ice tonight and left will not be the same in September.
Okay.
It will not be the same by a long shot. There is probably going to be many changes. If you are listening to this podcast, there may have already been changes by the time you get to it. And
not
so
that. They're not gonna cancel Keith's key card before he gets to the locker room. They're gonna be like, you can't even go in the locker room. Just nope, you're out. No, I totally agree with you. Like I was saying, okay, so when they're down 3-0, I was talking about what I was gonna say, because you're down 3-0 in the series. You're pretty much done. You can't bring back at least 2 of the core 4 can't come back. And that wouldn't be the case. I mean, you couldn't keep all of them even if you went and won the cup, because just the math wouldn't work. But now you just know that this experiment of having the 4 almost 10 million plus players, because Nylander's going to be a 10 million plus player.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. It can't work.
No, and Kyle McClure in the chat with Bob's save percentage in every Leafs loss: 944, 946, 917, and 962. That is that's a $10 million player that you get your money's worth for.
Jeez, that's Hall of Fame shit, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bobrovsky's got to be if they win the Stanley Cup, that's a Hall of Famer. I don't care what else you're going in the Hall of Fame for that.
Yeah. Well, and listen, Sergei Bobrovsky is no spring chicken, right? Like Joseph Wool plays in net tonight, and he honestly played really good tonight. He blocked how many shots? It was like 38 of 40, or 40 of 43 or something ridiculous.
A lot of really good sprawling saves, athletic saves too.
Yeah, considering it's the second game in the playoffs that he started, he looked great. But it's hard to win a game. It's hard to win a game when you go down early. It's hard to win the game when you tail for most of it, and it's hard to win a game when your stars don't show up the way you want them to. And
when you don't score goals.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Right. And that's
think about it. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, go please.
Okay. So think about it this way. And I saw somebody post this in the chat. You got what? 2 goals out of the core 4 in this series, or 3? 3 goals. 3 goals in this series out of the core 4 forwards. That is $45 million. So what are you paying there? About what? $13 million a goal? That's ridiculous. They haven't scored more than 2 goals since they came back and beat Tampa Bay 6 months ago, it feels like. Right? Well, for a team that's built around their offensive superstars, you can't go down and play like the New York Islanders.
Well, and that's just it. And listen, there are people in the chat that are saying, "Oh, Leafs fans always have excuses. That's what Leafs fans do. Blame the refs instead of holding their team accountable." We're saying, listen, there were some weird calls tonight, granted, but again, the refs are not the reason that the Leafs lost the series. They might be the reason that calls don't go a specific way, because that's what their job is. The Leafs didn't show up in game 1, 2, or 3 of this series. They did not show up at all in the first 3 games. It was brutal to watch. We were only getting goals from our bottom 6 players. We are talking about our highest paid center got 0 goals. 0. Oh, he had lots of looks. Oh, it's a game of millimeters. Oh, it's a game of inches. Whatever measurement stick you want to use. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Because posts don't count. And almost goals don't count. And shots on goals don't count. And no one gives a shit about your almost goal.
Yeah. Deserve to win a meter. What about the give a shit a meter, right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, exactly. And at the end of the game, that meter, the give a shit a meter, yes, it's all the way up. It's cranked in the red zone. Great. And we love to see that. How exciting was that overtime? How exciting was it in the last 10 minutes? Great hockey.
Game.
Great game.
An objective fan, if I was an objective fan with no horse in the race, that'd be great hockey. I would have been thrilled by watching that.
Yeah.
But like to your point, okay, so there were points in the series where they made appearances. So I wouldn't say they didn't show up for the entire games. They made some appearances. They came in and say, "Hey, how you doing?" They didn't stay the whole time.
It's like lighting litmus paper on fire. Like it's bright for just a second and then it's gone. Okay? Whereas
That's
if
a
you
very
look
smart
at,
reference.
if
I like
you look,
that.
oh, thank you. If you look at other teams, they get consistent scoring from their top lines, right? Now, that is not the case in every single team, right? Seattle has a ridiculous amount of their players. They're just scoring in they're up and down the lineup, which is
Seattle
awesome.
doesn't make any sense.
But
I
that
don't
doesn't.
understand.
Most teams don't work that way, right? And you know, I don't.
No.
And there's going to be all kinds of speculation about our guys injured. Guess what? Carolina Hurricanes, lots of injuries. Guess what? They're going to the Eastern Conference Final where they're going to play the Florida Panthers. Yahoo!
Yeah.
Ugh.
I know. The what a historic matchup there. I mean, all credits to both teams. They deserve to be where they are.
Oh, listen.
I'm not here to crap on the Florida Panthers.
The Panthers just beat us, so congratulations.
All respect to them.
Yeah, and if you go to the Stanley Cup final, maybe Leafs fans will feel a little bit better about losing to the Stanley Cup final team in the East, which I don't think ever makes anybody feel better. But at least at that point, maybe people will stop underestimating Florida because I think everybody did. I mean, even I'll admit, I wanted to face Boston in the second round. I didn't want to face Florida, but it wasn't because I was like, oh, I think Florida's easier or harder. I just wanted the story of beating Boston. That's what I wanted instead. Yeah. But even that, I'm happy to admit that I underestimated the Florida Panthers. I didn't think that they were going to play that well. But I also didn't think that the Leafs were going to just completely, just cave in like a truffle that just the bottom fell out of it. It's just...
Yeah, to your point about the Boston thing, if it makes you feel any better, they probably would have done the same with the Boston Bruins. Probably doesn't make you feel any better, but that's what I totally believe.
It doesn't.
Listen, that's the team. That's the guys. We can't play, what if this call went this way?
Yeah.
Or Bobrovsky didn't move this slightly way.
Or what if the Morgan Riley, the tying goal that never was in the second period, maybe they rule it the other way and all of a sudden.
Because I'm so glad they didn't lose 2-1 because I did not want to lead with referee talk. I can't stand referee talk. If you're in a position where the referees are deciding a game in the playoffs for you, you're not a very good playoff team.
Yeah.
Okay. I know a lot of fans were angry. I was mad about if we're going to get into that, I was only mad about that call because the rules were stupid. If it was actually blown a whistle, if the rules were, if they blew the whistle, actually blew the whistle, I would have said, okay, fine. Yeah. Because he stood up, what's he supposed to do? He's not focusing on the puck. But they were doing a Zapruder film on Sportsnet on the intermission. It was hilarious. They were just investigating every angle. And they're like, there's no whistle. So, and then the rule comes out that if there's no whistle, if the referee intends to blow the play down, feels like blowing the play down, then the play must be blown down.
When the
cares about your
deems,
feelings?
Yeah, when the referee deems the play has been stopped, even if he had not physically had the opportunity to stop play by blowing his whistle.
Oh my... Okay, the whistle is there to remove ambiguity, okay? You can't have ambiguity in sports. I can't whistle.
You can't whistle?
I can, but not
whistle
hard.
super loud.
Yeah, okay.
Doesn't show up
so you
on
blow the
screen.
whistle to stop the play. You can't have the referee intended. He felt deep in his soul, felt deeply about it. To quote Tony Soprano, I wipe my ass with your feelings, Christopher. Anyway, let's
You're gonna go James Gandolfini on the stream? Is that what's happening? Well, and listen,
breathe heavy.
Right? As long as you don't try and force me into the back of an old Cadillac, we'll be fine. Realistically, at this point, the better team won the series, right? That's why 7-game series are played. That's why 7-game series are played. That's why it's not best of 3, best of 7 is better, because you get a better gauge of what the team is going to look like. And there was somebody in the chat earlier. I've lost it now because there's so many people here. Also, if you are in the chat, make sure you guys are hitting like and subscribe to this. Also, we're raising money for Alphabet Sports Collective. There's a link in the chat link. The reality is that it shouldn't have come down the way that it did. I know I just keep circling back to that, but it's just the better team won tonight, and the Leafs really did play. There were flashes in the pan of how good they can be, and the team that we all came to know them to be. The game on Wednesday was way more compelling. It was way more what we came to expect, because that's the standard that they had set, right? The first 3 games, the bar was subterranean with how badly they were playing. They couldn't buy a pass. They couldn't buy a read. They couldn't buy a forecheck. They couldn't buy a back check. They could not get a thing to go their way. Last game, it seemed like maybe they're turning the page, right? And then even tonight, they're down 2-0. And even though all that fear is sitting there and you get the feeling in your stomach, last round they were down by more than that and came back and won. In this game, they come back and tie the game and send it to overtime, and that's great. But if you go down in every single game like that, eventually you can't have these miracle comeback Disney movie stories. They run out, okay?
Yeah.
And that's what happened. You can't play this run and gun, fly by the seat of your pants, play shitty hockey for 45 minutes, and then expect Miracle on Ice to happen. It just isn't realistic, and this is the result. Now, at least one of the core 4 is gone. Morgan Riley is staying. Joseph Woll is going to be one of the starters next year, and that's all well and good. But who knows what's going to happen after this? And it's all because you couldn't play like you gave half of a flying rat's ass for 3 games straight. Sorry, I'm off my
no, hey, you know what? Like, that's the thing. And, like, that's the thing. It's the stars. It's always the stars. You know why we're not getting on David Kampf? We're not scoring since March 1st, apparently? Because he doesn't get paid the big bucks, okay? Too much is given, much is required, right? You're given
a higher expectation.
Big contracts, right?
That's how it works.
You are the face of the franchise. Yep. You're on every commercial, every billboard, everything. And you got to show up when it matters, okay? Like, they weren't playing very well against Tampa Bay either. That's fine. They pulled it out. Yep. I don't want to begrudge that. But
no, for sure.
When Austin Matthews, there were times where I was like, where the hell is he? I couldn't find him. And towards the end, he had a couple of chances. Yeah. This series, he's been Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Yeah,
he's been a ghost.
And it was hard, right? Because if you look back at the game, like, there's a Mitch Marner and Matthews opportunity 30 seconds into the game that is very nearly goes in, right? Yeah. And I know we're talking about, doesn't count almost in, and even I said that earlier. Fair enough. But, the Leafs also take a high sticking penalty with, 5 minutes into the game? Not even. Ugh. Not even. Right? Panthers score with 5 seconds left in the penalty, 3:31 to go. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh no, it's 3 minutes and 31 seconds in. And then the shots were 9-2, 5 minutes and 26 seconds in for the Panthers. Again, Leafs not starting on time. And this is something that I talked about last stream that I was on. The Leafs starting on time and showing up and the give a shit meter doesn't only exist with Keefe. It existed with Babcock before that.
Yeah.
Right? This is not a new problem. This is not a management problem. It's not a coaching problem, because we have had a coaching change since then on just about every single level. Every single one of the coaches
the roster changed. The whole roster's different.
Well, not the whole roster.
Except for them. Except around the core. I mean, a roster around the core.
Right. Which
you brought in all these vets. Also, before I have to interrupt because the chat kind of caught you on a bit of a Freudian slip. Chad Rodraska, I think, is a Florida Panthers fan, and he said, "Rat's ass, ha 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 ha," and then he put rat emojis. You know why that's funny? Because they throw rats on the ice when they win.
Yeah.
So he kind of caught you in a,
okay. Well,
slip. It's kind of funny.
Flying
I'm
rat's
not gonna
ass
lie.
thing is like a dadism, so like not actually thinking about you there, bud.
Yeah, well, hey, it was a Freudian
No,
slip.
I know,
thought it was funny.
I know, but it's fine. It's
funny.
not Freudian slip. I was on purpose.
You find the jokes
I'm trying
that
to
you can.
limit the really bad swear words. That's the reality. Otherwise, I would be a lot worse.
Well,
but again, the Leafs to start the game were shite. They were shite, right? And
absolutely.
The Panthers capitalize, and they go down 2-0 to end the first. Like, Carter Verhaeghe, again, probably the best player on the Panthers in this playoffs by a long shot, right? He gets the series-winning goal against Boston, and Nick Cousins buries it tonight for them to win the series. But Carter Verhaeghe, puts the fear of God into them, because it's different to go into the first intermission down 1 goal versus 2, right? And so for the Panthers to score with 3 minutes and 42 seconds left, what did you feel when you see that goes in? Instead of it just being 1-0, all of a sudden now they're down by 2.
The building became a library, and rightfully so. The building became a and people rag on Leaf fans at being in the building. Just side note, the fans are never the problem. The whole suits thing, everybody was going off. Okay, give them something to cheer for, and they will cheer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You have traumatized these people. Like, if I paid freaking all that money to be there, I'd be pretty pissed off too about that effort.
Yeah, and it's not funny, but Harnish and Armand, who are two of the other hosts for Game Over Toronto, were actually at the tailgate tonight. I think it was actually the first tailgate they managed to get to this season, and that's the game that they went to. So I know that at least a couple of them are watching the stream tonight. So hi, boys. Yeah, and like, tough game to be there for, right? Like, the Leafs don't even score until the second period. Just under 8 minutes into the second period. And then, of course, a couple minutes after that, the puck to the side of Mark Stahl's head that pauses the play, even though he wasn't actually hurt. Now, to be fair, I actually do think that was the right call. I think that if someone
nobody
gets...
knows.
I think if somebody gets cranked in the head, like, I don't care what player it is, obviously, because they're on the Panthers, and I'm condoning the fact that the play was blown dead. Because we're trying to get those kinds of head injuries out of the game. So, like, while as a Leaf fan, I wish that it hadn't. And I wish that they could have, an opportunity to maybe redo that play again. But at the end of the day, I would rather know that somebody's okay because they took a puck to the side of the head, because even though it wasn't a high stick, he got shot in the face by a shot from Morgan Riley. Not a fun thing. I think
the side of the head.
I know, but even still, like, it was like at the opening, so I can't imagine it tickled.
Yeah. That's it. Anything to the head.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Like, I just want, always want safety over anything else. But
I literally, at the end of the first, and I always split up all my notes with little, like, sections. End of the first, down 0-2 on home ice. Leafs shite at home.
Shite. I love how you use the word.
Yeah.
Scottish.
Scottish
roots
that's,
there.
Yeah, that's.
I had to talk about
people's.
this tweet. I had to talk about this tweet that I saw. It was I think it was from David Alter. He was saying, like, this is like a Leafs elimination game bingo. I lost it, but Leafs elimination game bingo. Inexplicably bad start. No, puck over the glass. He didn't put that. A fan put that afterwards. Like, yeah, you're right.
Oh, okay.
And that came after.
Oh, I haven't even seen the tweet, so the fact that I got that, I'm actually very impressed with
predicted it.
myself.
I'm gonna find it now. Hold on. I gotta find it now. I'm sorry. I know this is compelling. This is compelling podcasting here. Hold on. All right, here. This is a Leafs elimination game karaoke so far. Matt Larkin. Inexplicably flat start. Waking up when it may or may not be a little too late. Epically controversial call that fans may be referencing for years to come.
Yep.
Probably not anymore, thank God. What's the luck net? What's the next track? And this was at 9 o'clock, so before the puck over the glass. Then somebody says, puck over the glass penalty has to happen.
Yep.
And and Matt Larkin says, that's next for sure. Someone has to fill out the slip and pencil and handed it to the DJ.
And then it happened. It's times like that where, like, I don't really, truth be told, I don't think that it's rigged. But it's times like that where I'm like, but maybe.
It's rigged by God. It's rigged by God.
Yeah, listen, like, even if they tried to rig that, there's no way that you could rig hockey of all sports. There's too much stuff you can't control. Like, it's probably the least predictable game sports-wise, given the fact that it's, a hunk of rubber played on ice.
Yeah.
Chased by dudes
bouncing.
running around in knife shoes, right?
Yeah,
Like,
right?
it would be hard to actually do that. So, but yeah, like I said, it's hard to win a game when it's hard for the Leafs to win a game at home in the playoffs this year. Fuck's sake. Sorry.
1-5? Are you friggin' kidding me?
Yeah.
When you're the best home team in the league? Were they the best home team in the league, I think? Or one of them?
One of them.
And
yeah.
That's how you reward your fan. These people, all the money spent on those tickets. I'm sure people could afford them. Whatever. Still a lot of money spent on those tickets to only see one win out of 6 home games in the playoffs.
I tell you, it would be a lot easier to make more money if they went further.
Yeah, that's trash.
Yeah. And you can't very hard to win a series if you can't win at home when you have home ice advantage, kids. Don't know if you know that. Just one of those things. And, even going into the playoffs, Ilya Samsonov was like Mr. Home Ice, not on the road. And then in the playoffs, he was unbeatable on the road. So, like, man, I don't know what kind of upside down world Black Mirror episode we're in, Twilight Zone fantasy. But
the Leafs whole franchise is a freaking Black Mirror episode.
Yeah.
It's even scarier than watching
Black Mirror. It feels a little bit like that. But then, the Riley goal called no goal. After he scores a goal, he was the best player for us this playoffs. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, and that's not a good thing. But I'm happy for him because he had a tough season. He played well. He played with a lot of heart.
Yes.
I can't fault Morgan Riley. Like, he had a bad season. He was injured.
Definitely played
and
with
it was
a busted
not
nose.
Right. But he was
a beast.
What you want a playoff performer to be.
Yes.
And quite frankly, what we did not get from any of the forwards. And that's what people are like. I don't want the Stars to be fighting and playing dirty, but I just want you to play hard. Like, in any sport, I want to see you go all out.
Yeah,
and I did not see that at all.
No, and again, reiterating, I don't want people to go out headhunting like your Alex Pietrangelo giving a guard of the Hawks strike down to Leon Draisaitl. But at the same time,
suspended the whole season. Go on.
But at the same time, like, when it's overtime and you're on the PK, how are you not just like punching Sam Bennett in the face and cross-checking people so that their spleen comes out of their spine?
There's no rules.
No,
purge.
You're not there. They barely called anything at the end of the game. The only reason they called it was puck over the glass, which they always have to do because it's obvious. Right? And and it's open season, fellas. You're never going to have a better opportunity to take a piece. And they were barely finishing their checks.
It's the purge.
Yeah. And it's frustration after frustration, right? And it's little things like that. And,
So, go ahead. So, people are asking now, like, what kind of next? Right? Like, who here, what do you think? Like, I'm just going to ask you, like, and everybody else, like, who in the Leafs uniform tonight will not be in a Leafs uniform in October? Because
Justin
that's
Hall
going
and
to
Alex
be
Kerfoot, because they're both UFAs.
Okay, obvious. But, like, who's, like, the prominent guys? Like, I want to know. I think Sheldon Keefe tomorrow probably should be shown the door. I don't hate the guy, but he's been around for just too many embarrassing things.
Keefe?
He's been outcoached. Yeah. I think he's gone.
See,
I think it's going to be a house cleaning at the top and the coaching. I think it's going to be like 2015.
So I called my sister and my cousin. We are all avid Leaf fans.
Yeah.
I called them in the first intermission, and we all just kind of stared at each other for a second until I said, "So what do you want to talk about?" And I said this. I've actually said this in previous streams, I think, as well. I actually find it really unfortunate the fact that we have Kyle Dubas and Sheldon Keefe at the beginning of their careers, because I am positive that whenever they leave the Leafs, whether it be in this season or next, or many years after that, because they go on a ridiculous run and maybe do something other than win one round, they're going to go on and have long, illustrious, successful, probably cup-winning careers.
Yeah.
And it's while I'm glad that we've had them, I find it a
Not in their primes, right?
terrible, like almost Greek tragedy and comedy type of situation where they're going to learn all of that, because when they had their first jobs in Toronto, it didn't go their way, but then they learned their lessons, brought it on to the next place where they went and won a cup a bunch of times. Like,
oh yeah.
And I just know that's coming. And it's like,
coming.
It's unfortunate that we're getting them at the very beginning of their careers and not like 2 or 3 teams into their careers. You know what I mean? And
Kyle Dubas. Yeah. Sorry. Go on.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. Kyle Dubas. There's a lot of times where I was like, what the hell is this guy thinking? Where like the Jared McCann stuff, but he's done some really good things here. And like to your point, he's like, what, 38 years old, something like that?
Keith?
Yeah. No, Kyle Dubas. Now,
I think Dubas is like 2 years older than me, so I'm pretty sure he's like 36 or
late 30s.
Yeah,
he's a baby as far as being an executive.
Yeah,
he's gonna go on. He's gonna be in the league forever because the league only has like 32 people they have for until they die. But Kyle Dubas has been really good. He got Matthew Nyes. He's done. He got Ryan O'Reilly. He's been able to, even though he signed everybody and kept, put this core and gave out all those contracts, he found ways to build around these guys. And it's not the secondary pieces that failed this team. It's the core guys that failed the team. But the thing is, and I like Kyle Dubas and I want him to stay, but there's also the part of me that says there might need to be a new vision, because I can't see Kyle Dubas giving up on his core 4 guys. I don't know. Like, he seems to be attached to these guys. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll show us a different side. But his contract is up.
Well, and we're officially in speculation season.
Oh yeah, let it
Unfortunately, rest in peace. I'm not going to pour one out because I have a very expensive laptop. But cheers, guys. Remember to hydrate if you're crying. So
pour one out.
Listen, I think you make a good point. It's funny, as I go back and forth on if Keefe should be fired into the sun or not, because I do think he's had lots of success in Toronto, but I also think that there are decisions that he's made where I'm just like, what are you doing? But I also think that part of those decisions is overshadowed by Kyle Dubas, right? Like Justin Hall and Timothy Liljegren tonight. Oh, did he have a bad game? Oh my goodness. There are lots of people that think that Justin Hall shouldn't still be on the team. And it's not Keefe's fault that he's playing him as much, because if they really thought that he was so bad, then he wouldn't still be on the team, and he is.
Oh, what? You didn't like that wraparound where he almost did the Michigan?
Do almost goals count?
Jeez.
No, it's the goals against that I'm actually worried about. And Timothy Liljegren tonight had some baffling playmaking decisions. Oh my God. That fumbled pass intercept where he caught it, but then it bounced and it led directly to the goal that put the Panthers up 2-0. Oh, he had such a bad game. The puck over the glass on the bingo card. Don't kill me.
God, that's funny.
Yeah.
It's just...
Yeah. And then, of course, let's talk about the Riley goal or no goal really quick, shall we? So
sure.
with 2:49 to go.
Have a go.
With 2:49 to go in the second period, Riley puts a shot on, and it's called no goal on the ice. But when Sergei Bobrovsky is standing up and getting back into position, it's very clearly past the goal line. And everybody, Kyle Dubas included, lots of reporters, I believe everybody on the Hockey Night in Canada panel all believed that it should have counted, and it did not. And the tie goal that never was is what I wrote down. So, and I tweeted this out earlier. I never want to hear the situation room bias again. Oh, situation rooms in Toronto. Yeah, you can shove that, and you can do something. You can do whatever you want with that.
Smoke it.
But yes, exactly. And then, Austin Matthews and William Nylander, as the game goes on, the blender comes out and the random line combinations begin. William Nylander and Austin Matthews get called offside on a very good chance, unfortunately. And the Leafs head into the third period down 2-1. But then William Nylander scores with just under 5 minutes to go, not having to pull Joseph Woll.
Like we said at the top, like, I'm just, you know what? I did not want this to be, oh, they lost because of the refs, because that would paper over what the real issue is here. The experiment has failed. Okay, you could, in science, if you keep trying to make fire out of baking soda and water and putting a lighter to it and say, the time it's gonna work, got a new lighter, it's not gonna work. It's not. Stop it. Try a new experiment.
Yeah, well, and again, if the Leafs play better in game 1, 2, and 3, then that non-goal, which it was a non-goal, and there's no definitive thing. There's no definitive footage either way because there's no camera that's exactly at ice level, at puck level. So, we can sit here and speculate till the cows come home, but eventually it is called no goal. And even though the Leafs end up tying it with 5 minutes to go, it is not enough because Florida wins it in overtime. And so it was, I actually have literally nothing written for the third period. I have Willie 4:26 to go, aim small, miss small, Willie from JT in 78, which is TJ Brody, obviously. And that was a beautiful play. Everybody looked very excited. But again, yeah, it was a very nice goal. But again, like, we're getting that excited for a game-tying goal when even if you win the game, you're still down 3-2. And it was a very exciting moment, but it just felt a little too late. Too little, too late.
Too little, too late. I mean, like, see, I'm really bad at the armchair GM stuff because, we don't know who prospect. Like, we're not really good at evaluating prospects. Who's going to be good? Who's going to do that? But, like, yeah, I think, what kind of team would you want to, like, what kind of differences would you want to see? Because to me, like, here's one thing. Like, do you think, and this is, you're probably gonna push back on this. But do you think, because he's going to get the calls, whoever's the GM is going to get the calls, do you think they should at least listen on Austin Matthews? Because he's going to command upwards of $13, $14 million, okay? I mean, you can't commit to everybody because then you're just going to have 4 guys who can't get it done in the playoffs and, like, the rest being PTOs because you're not going to be able to afford anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I think you listen because it's not ideal. You don't want to do that because you think it's going to just come back and bite your franchise forever. But if you can get some kind of historic haul, if the Arizona Coyotes want to make sure he's locked down and they give you all the picks, everything they have, lifetime access to the Mullet Arena, I don't know. I think they got to listen. You can't hang up. You can't hang up, though.
You can't hang up on the first call.
Chat, you got to tell me. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Chat, tell me what you would do. I don't know. You're not going to get anything close to what he would be worth. Like,
that's the thing.
And he's also still a Leaf. Like, I don't know. Yeah. It seems kind of ridiculous. I would actually see what he wants to sign for because I don't think that he's going to try and ask for $14 million because what have you, like, okay, you've won the Rocket, that's great. And how many goals in the playoffs have you had? Which is what matters. Right?
If they got a good negotiator.
I would be happy to bring Austin Matthews back for, like, what he's making or a little bit less, but I don't want to pay more because what have you done for me lately? Like, and I think that at least one of the core 4 is gone. I don't think it's William Nylander. I think he's clearly, even though he has his moments where is very inconsistent and is probably the most in flux in terms of day to day. I think in terms of, like, day to day, game to game effort, he's the most inconsistent. Now, again, when he has those moments where he's amazing, like he did tonight, and he, puts the team on his back and just makes an amazing play, is great. And it seems like he has more luck with those plays than some of the other members on the team do. And I think that it's clear that the Leafs, we don't need bottom 6 scoring. Our bottom 6 looked great this year. Our depth scoring did more for us than it has in any other previous season. But we need more from those top players. We need more from our top 2 centers. Both of them.
I think if you rank, honestly, and I was kind of thinking about this. I think if you rank in terms of most likely to least likely to be traded, I would put most likely at the number 1. I disagree. I think William Nylander, just because of his contract is because he's expiring. Like, he is coming up. Like, he's the one. He's gonna be looking for what Marner's making, probably.
Yeah.
He may not get it, but hey, there's a lot of GMs out there, a lot of big, a lot of itchy. A lot of wallets out there that are begging to be emptied. So, I think he's number 1 on that list. Number 2, I think it's Mitch Marner. Again, he had the best season of his career. Looked pretty bad for a vast majority of the second round. Times in this game looked like he was playing with a pool cue because the puck just went zoop. And I'm like, did you you're a good hockey player. Like, what happened?
Well, and earlier,
number 3, I mean, Tavares can't get traded. Sorry, Tavares cannot get traded.
No,
like,
he's got too much. Like, first of all,
no trade clause.
Yeah, you won't get anything good for him.
No, he's here forever.
Yeah, in terms of what you asked me before on if I would answer phone calls, because I realized I never actually answered it. I would take a phone call because those are free, right? You live in 2023, you could take a phone call, but I think that it very much depends on what happens with the front office in terms of Austin Matthews, because I feel like some of that fate is probably braided into whatever happens with Kyle Dubas. And just to be clear, I don't think Kyle Dubas is going to get fired. The reality is that his contract is up. Yeah. No, there were people in the chat. There were people in the chat. Yeah, he might not want to come back. Maybe there is, he might feel frustration with some of the coaching decisions that maybe Sheldon Keefe made. I don't know. And again, now we're in speculation season, right? So, this is. I
mean, if I were him, I would be thinking about, like, I don't know if I'd for sure leave, but like, if you've done everything you could in a job, and it's like the thing you want is just everything, all the effort you put in is not coming out. It's only natural for people to like put their LinkedIn to available for work. Okay, like Kyle Dubas is. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm Kyle Dubas, I'm looking around the league. I'm looking at my options. I'm not going to be like, blank check, sign me right now to Toronto. I'm only here. No, I'm shopping myself around to different situations around the league.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think there's any harm in taking a phone call regardless of what your name is, right? Like, whether it's Sheldon Keefe or whether it's Kyle Dubas or whether it's Austin Matthews or whatever, right? Like, everybody's going to get a phone call, and luckily I don't think the Oilers can afford Austin Matthews, but I'm sure they'll try. But it looks but at the same time, I sort of chirp the Oilers. The reality is they're still in the playoffs and the Leafs aren't. So their top guys have showed up, right? They have a different set of problems over there in Edmonton, but the reality is they're now Canada's only hope for a Stanley Cup, as much as I really hate to say that.
Travis in the chat is saying Matthews' trade value incredibly low. He has no move clause starting July 1st.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Thank you, Travis.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
There are lots of people in the chat that really think Keefe is part of the reason. And there's a part of me that really doesn't disagree with you. Realistically, like, he's been good in the regular season, but there are just some decisions that he's made, again, where I'm like, what are you doing right now?
He's been the coach for all of the most embarrassing moments in the history, in the last few years of this franchise, okay? He's been the coach for the David Ayers game, coach for the Columbus series, coach for the Montreal series. Did okay in the Tampa one, but the handshake line, and then this one where they go down 3-0 to a good Florida Panthers team, a team you should have at least not gone down 3-0 to. You should have won the series.
But again, what other coach are you going to get that's going to fix all those problems?
Oh, I don't know.
Right?
That's the thing.
I heard Mike Babcock's available.
Yeah, Daryl Sutter.
Kidding.
Daryl Sutter and
no. Oh, God. The grumpy old men coaching pair. Because realistically, I don't want to clean house. Because I do think that there are some things that the Leafs have done really well. The Leafs have done very well with drafting and scouting. Matthew Nyes is legitimately going to be probably a top 6 left winger, right? Like,
very bright future, yeah.
And I think that if you get a couple seasons of him with Matthews, then they could get a lot of chemistry. But is Matthews going to want to stay? And oh god, I hate that now we have to be in speculation season. Damn it.
Oh, it's
Like
gonna
waves.
be,
It's coming in waves.
it's gonna be,
I started off the stream kind of morose, and then I got kind of angry, and now I'm like just kind of pissed off.
got you fired up. Man. I got you fired up. I was ready to
Ugh.
Oh man, it's gonna be like get the hourglass out and then get the song ding ding. These are the days of our lives because it's gonna be a goddamn soap opera in this off season. You're gonna hear leaks. This guy's not happy with this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's. I mean, it's good for the content creators, but my God, it's gonna be something.
It's gonna be a long off season, even though it's gonna be a long off season. Even this is gonna be the shortest one the Leafs have had in a while, which is just terrible.
19 years.
But you know what that means, right? You know what that means, right, Fouad?
What? Okay. Blue Jays, let's play ball. Are they doing okay? So I don't normally tune into the Blue Jays until after July 1st because I'm locked on the NHL playoffs and I'm locked on the NBA playoffs. They're doing okay. I know that their division is stupidly crazy, but
It always is. That's not new. But no, I'm joking. I am very much a Blue Jays fan. Also, this is my favorite hat that I own.
good hat.
It was from the Blue Jays Pride game a couple years ago. I don't know what they go for now, but a couple years ago one of these would fetch like $150 on eBay because of this right here. It's got the nice Toronto skyline. It's super nice.
Yeah, look at that.
But it's gonna be a long, short off season because it's been very nice being able to watch the Leafs play when it's 20 degrees outside. It's been very nice having all that. It's been
the best way.
Yeah, and maybe it's one of those things where now the Leafs have gotten a taste for it, and I don't know. It's again now we're just speculating because it's going to be sweeping changes as of probably tomorrow afternoon, regardless of what happens and whatever we talk about. Whatever happens is probably going to happen in the next 10 days.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, they're not going to trade nobody, but I'm sure coaching decisions probably
no,
gonna be
yeah, but any kind of coaching or management decisions that come down are gonna happen fairly quickly, I would assume.
You have to.
And
you got to move. Yeah,
yeah,
next month.
And on top of that, with that comes automatic changes in the trade talks because if Kyle Dubas is all of a sudden not the GM, then suddenly somebody else is having a contract negotiation with Austin Matthews. So
I mean, I don't know. Did we touch on all the sadness?
No, not quite.
Okay, go on.
Really quickly, so who is now, and I don't know if this is what you're going to bring up. So who is now the horse that you're hitching your cart to for the Stanley Cup? Who do you want to win? Who do you want to win, and who do you think is going to win? Because that's two different questions.
Okay. Who do I want to win? I'm gonna go with I gotta stay brand loyal to SDPN here. Canadian team. I always like the Edmonton Oilers, and here's the thing. Twofold. It's also the fact that they have two of the best players in the world. And Leon Draisaitl is doing something unbelievable this season. I'd like to see individual greatness get rewarded. And, God, man, they got to get the cup back to Canada. Connor McDavid's got to have the Stanley Cup. He is this generation's best player by far. So I'd like to see him have the Stanley Cup. Who do I think is going to win? Carolina.
Interesting.
Carolina.
How many games do you think it takes for them to beat Florida?
Now I'm changing, but I'm thinking about it. I don't know. I think maybe Carolina at 7.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm bad with predictions though, so it's probably gonna be
trash. I want Seattle to win the cup just because
I know you'd say that. Yeah,
I love Seattle. For those of you that don't know, my wife, when I met her, she was actually living in Portland, Oregon, and we got married. I'm pretty sure the same year or a year before Seattle became a team. So that is the team that she first started liking when she got into hockey, but now she's also a Leafs fan, unfortunately, thanks to me. And I think I would love for them to win the cup just because I love that team, but I actually think that the Oilers might go. I think they might do it.
They got it?
I think that they are probably the least predictable because they have the ability to just...
They're losing 3-2 now,
just win a game.
I just saw now.
Yes. But again, like, if you look at Vegas's lineup, they have so much. But again, there's mitigating factors on both sides because, the Oilers have Stuart Skinner and Jack Campbell, but Vegas just lost Lawrence Brossoit to an injury, and now it's Aiden Hill as their goalie. But, that series is so exciting. Actually, if you are going to go watch that series, everybody, make sure you do check out Game Over Edmonton afterwards. I'm not sure who's doing it tonight, but Avery, Dennis, and Zach are all wonderful people, and they will all very much appreciate your views and your likes and subscriptions. And make sure
Google Pro says Cody Ceci lifting the cup this year would be icing on the cake. I agree.
And Jack Campbell.
Kiss. And Jack Campbell.
And Zach Hyman. Oh, God. Why? That's why I don't actually want the Oilers to win the cup.
I feel no
I don't want them to be
anymore.
justified. I don't want them to be justified.
Give me all your arrows. I feel no pain.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, in terms of what needs to be a difference maker in next year's Leafs team, Fouad? What's it got to be?
I mean, I think you just need. I need to see something. I just need something different. It's got to be different. Now, that doesn't always mean better. I hope they get value for what they get back. I hope it's not like a trash trade just to make a trade because, lost in all this, the GMs around the league, they're watching this too. They know the Leafs can't bring this core back. And that's how, the markets work. That's how value works. All of a sudden, when you're a motivated seller, the value, the price goes down, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
No.
But I don't think me as someone who's a fan and somebody who covers a team and anybody else, ask anybody down there, I don't think anybody can stand watching the same shit every game next season. How are we going to talk ourselves into 82 games of this being different next season? So I'd like to see them go a bit younger, get back some good prospects, maybe get some D-men. I don't know, but it's got to be different.
I think it's got to be different, and I think there's going to be changes in the lineup regardless. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know who is going to be lining up. I think it's clear that Matthew Nyes is probably a full-blown player for us next year. I think Joseph Woll is probably a full-time player for us next year.
Yep.
It's I don't know. How do you even, I don't know. I wouldn't even say that the Leafs got goalie tonight because I don't, Sergei Bobrovsky was great all series, but maybe what the Leafs need to do is not pick up a rehab project and somebody that's bound to be injured, and maybe they trade somebody that is actually a world-beating goalie because Ilya Samsonov, even though I love him and we all love some Sammy Smile, he had a couple injury issues earlier this year, and he was a little bit inconsistent in the playoffs. And I think if you can make a trade for one of the big four that somehow involves a goalie,
you're not sold out. You're not sold on Joseph Woll?
Now, no, not Joseph Woll. No, I'm saying somebody else. I don't know who. We're now in the off season, so it doesn't really matter. But realistically, I think there's at least a couple trades that are to happen. I think Joseph Woll is probably our backup, if not one of the starters next year. But I don't think that either of the goalies that we ended the season with on the roster, as in Ilya Samsonov and Matt Murray, I don't think either of them are actually back next year because Murray only signed a 1-year contract. Samsonov only signed a 1-year contract at the end of last year with the Leafs, and Murray is very clearly not really an option at this point. So maybe they just stick him on LTIR and let him sit there. But I don't know. It's
gonna take some
Yeah.
some real major
Yep.
surgery. Like
And
I'm talking about when they do the brain surgery on TV and it's like one thing goes wrong, you're set back 10 years. It's gonna be it's not knee surgery. They're gonna need full blown brain replacement surgery.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alex Kerfoot, his contract's going to be done. Justin Hall is going to be, his contract is done as well. So he'll probably be signing somewhere else for a whole bunch of money the Leafs can't afford, which goodbye. And I don't know who comes up in that. Maybe a couple rookies come up, but I can't help but feel like we played better this year because we had more veteran presence, and getting rid of, losing some players that have lots of experience isn't great, and replacing them with people that are super young and bound to make silly mistakes, like Timothy Liljegren, like Travis Dermott in past years, like all kinds of people that have made flubs that end up losing a game or in a series. And I just don't think we have the full picture yet. So, like I said, I don't know who's gone, but I'm willing to bet at least one of the big four is gone. I don't know who it'll be. And, there's a good chance that maybe we saw one of the big four play there last night in the blue and white tonight, unfortunately. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Trade Matthews for Hellebuck. Oh, don't tempt me. So, before we sign off, got anything to say there, Fouad? What do you think? Well, how do you grade your feeling after the playoffs? How would you?
My feeling?
Yeah.
Because
about how the playoffs went. Because listen, we did get out of the first round for the first time in almost 20 years. Yeah. Thank goodness, and that was great. And we shouldn't, lots of fans of other teams criticize Leaf fans for celebrating like it was the Stanley Cup. But listen, it had been a long time since Leafs fans had anything to celebrate. So maybe don't rant on our parade too hard, because we haven't really had really a good reason to celebrate anything.
All right, so if they would have lost to Tampa Bay in the first round, I would have said F-. But if that's even a grade. But this one now is like a D-, because I was just D+, but D- because you went down 3-0 in a series that you have the talent advantage.
And if you play like you did tonight, you probably make more of a competition of that actual series.
D-. Now, as far as personally about this season, fantastic, favorite Leaf season of all time, because this is the first time I was doing media for the Leafs in this way. And at 29 years old, I got a start in the industry I never thought I'd get. So, a lot more big things coming, but it's been an absolute honor this season covering this team through the ups and the downs, mostly ups, and then the cratering. But being here for the whole time, like, I can't, stress enough how much fun, how awesome it's been, how grateful I am to everybody at SDPN. I'm talking Andrew Berkshire, I'm talking Steve Dangle, I'm talking Adam Wilde, Jesse Blake, producer Robert, the most valuable producer,
the MVP,
saving our ass so many times. Everybody, Harnish, Armand, yourself, everybody else across Canada, the Game Overs. It's been fantastic. So I can't wait to do it again next year, hopefully with a different looking lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. And well said, man. Like, listen, it in terms of grade for the playoffs, I don't know, I guess like a D. I don't even give them a D-, just a D. They got out of the first round. They didn't get swept. That was nice. But, the problem is that, our good friend Steve Dangle said, you win a round and you're 25% of the way there. And going down 3-0 in the second round is not a great way to get yourself some success. But in terms of the season as a whole, I don't even know if I could tell you a bright spot, because how quickly this year has gone, how quickly this season has happened, how quickly the playoffs have gone by, how this whole thing about becoming a part of the SDPN has happened, because it happened. I actually applied on one of the last days that you could. I wasn't going to apply because I didn't think that I'd flying a snowflake's chance in hell, and I applied, and it was a whirlwind from there, and I got in, and I couldn't believe it, and I bought this fancy computer, and I bought a couple extra jerseys, and I bought all this merch for a company that I can now proudly say I work for, and I am proud to say I work for it, because I've been around the block a couple times. I'm no spring chicken. I'm in my mid-30s, and I don't know the last time I had a group of people that cared so deeply for each other without really knowing each other in a very close personal way, because essentially all of the SDPN people are joined by a love of sport, and it's been incredible to just get on board with this ship that our good friends Adam, Steve, and Jesse have created, and to be able to be a part of that and to be a part of it moving forward is such an exciting thing. And I can't say enough thank you to the guys that got me an opportunity, to Andrew Berkshire, of course, to producer Rob, to everybody that helps on all of the streams, to all of the people in the chat, to people that have left positive and negative comments for us all season, that encouraged us and gave us support and gave us some constructive criticism and maybe some not so nice words as well, because of
the guy who said the bald guy, it's too loud. Some guy in the chat.
Listen, we've all got hate on. We've all had hate on. We've all got hated on.
I am bald and I'm too loud.
Oh, whatever. My dad's bald too, and I still love him. So it's not about the hair, man. And at the end of the day, we're all part of this awesome thing, and it's just the beginning, and it's been such an honor to be a part of. And I'm actually more bummed that like the streams are now done, and I have to go a couple months without talking to some of my buddies here. So
what the hell am I gonna do all day?
I know.
What the hell am I gonna do all year? Well, I'm still pumping out some content on the socials, but for SDPN doing some NBA. Now I guess I'm just gonna be.
I'm trying to have my moment, man. Jeez.
I'm sorry. My bad.
Anyway, like I said, it's been awesome to be a part of it, and we're all super grateful, and we will all be back next season. So,
yeah.
For the last time this season, signing off for Game Over Toronto. I am Lauren Williamson. Thank you for watching this stream. Thank you for being part of it. Thank you for watching all season. If it is your first time here, welcome. Please go back. There is 96 games worth of content that you can watch. And of course the other Game Over cities as well. Like I said, my name is Lauren. You can find me on Twitter at Lauren6. On the other hand side of my screen is the one and only Fouad Soliman. You can follow him on Twitter at Fouad_sports, I believe.
I think it's right? Fumad now. I think I put it as Fumad.
Yeah, but your actual Twitter handle.
Yeah, I'm not really good at Twitter.
Yeah.
This is the first year I ever used Twitter.
Yeah. So for the last time this season, everybody, thank you for watching Game Over Toronto. Please make sure you hit like and subscribe. Make sure you watch all of the other content that SDPN has. And we will be back next season for another season of Game Over Toronto with a different set of people wearing that blue and white jersey that we all love so much. So everybody enjoy.
Not. Maybe they will just say, hey, we'll just run this back one more time. God, the worst nightmare.
I guess we'll find out in September. So for Game Over Toronto for one last time, thank you for watching. Have a great night, everybody.
Peace.
Game over. Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.